host of the Gridiron.
All right, welcome to the Gridiron, baby. If you give this video a thumbs up and maybe share this video, that would be absolutely freaking awesome. I just cracked myself up. I'm pathetic, I know. If you subscribe to my channel, thank you. If not, please go down below, hit the subscribe button, hit that bell icon. That way next time I go live, or if I put a video out, you'll be notified. And it's free of charge. What do you got to lose, right? But if you are subscribed, thank you. If you want to help support my channel out, go to the top link in the description box. The very top link takes you to my membership page. I got 3 different membership levels. Each one has their own little perks to them. So if you want to help support my channel out, it would mean so much to me, and I thank you in advance. Thank you. And also just a little ways down in the description box, there's a link that takes you to my Facebook group. It's called the New York Giants, the Gridiron. It's my Facebook group. Basically, if I'm alive and breathing, and if I got internet access, I am putting stuff in this group darn near 365. We have over 9,400 members in the group. It's growing all the time. It's called the New York Giants, the Gridiron. It's my Facebook group. Please join it. You will not be dissatisfied. I promise. All right. Well, all that stuff said and done and done away with. Well, here we are again. But, right, this week coming up here. So, Saturday, Sunday's the 3rd, right? Let me check about on my computer, right? So today's the 2nd, Saturday 2nd, the 3rd. So Wednesday, the 5th. A lot of people, you see a lot of stuff. It makes sense. I mean, it's a shame, and you hate, obviously, it goes both ways, if the Giants were to trade, chances, it's not like, well, should they trade 9 or 10 guys? That doesn't usually wind up happening, Usually a lot of trades don't wind up happening and stuff like that. If something happens, it happens, but it's not like, well, should the Giants trade this guy, and this guy, and this guy, and this guy, and this guy? That makes sense, if they wind up getting rid of like 1 or 2 guys, it would probably be a lot, But once again, you also have to, Shane's, you got to, the kind of message you're sending to, what's up, buddy? To the locker room, to the players and all that and everything. So you got to be careful with that, but also, it's, everybody knows it's a business. For the most part, it's nothing personal. It's a business, right? Everybody knows that. Of course, if I hate when you get rid of draft picks. Guys that you've drafted, and actually guys that have actually been on the team for a few years and all. I kind of hate that. Whether you lose them in free agency or you trade them or whatever. Like, I just hate that. It's like a part of me just gets like if they trade away Slate and there goes my arm. It just feels like somebody you've been rooting for and all this stuff for all these years and everything. They just trade them away. They just hate it. But the Giants got to sit down and say, we suck. Are we keeping these guys? They got a long list of guys that are free agents, restricted free agents, and all. But some of the guys who are unrestricted free agents, UFAs. Meaning they can basically, if the season's over, sign whoever they want to. Unrestricted free agent means that, like, they have total control. The Giants are from the, just say, right, and this would make sense to Ojulari. Like, say Ojulari goes whatever to the Lions. They say Aziz will give you $10 million a year. The Giants say the same thing. Aziz will give you $10 million a year. Aziz can make a choice. Right? He can say, well, I can get $10 million here, or I get $10 million there. Where do I want to go? For him, it would be like, where am I going to play the most? And that would be the problem the Giants would have with him. We'll go over that when we talk about Aziz in a few minutes, right down the road here. That'd be his choice. So There's what do we got here? Let's go over the list here. All right, there's quite a few guys here. Let's see. Unrestricted free agents. Now, some of these guys are on the team. Some this came from when was this here? Currently enjoying summer break. Yes, so there's some of these guys aren't even on the team anymore and all that. The Giants. This is from the Sporting News, but once again, this is back in June. Okay, so some of these guys aren't even on the team, but a lot of them are, right? So unrestricted free agents after the season's over, there's a plethora of them. Now, as I mentioned, I said, these guys here, they're unrestricted, means they can go wherever they want. The Giants, right, could offer, just throwing it out there, Drew Lock. I'm just, once again, just throwing a number out there. They can offer Drew Lock $15 million a year. The Falcons could offer him $10 million a year. He might like the Falcons situation better and say, nah, I'm going to go there. I like that situation. I think that, the organization's better. I like the team. A couple guys I know are there, yada, yada, yada. I might have a better chance of playing there. So he can go wherever he wants. So, but I said, let me read this list. So I said, this is from a few months ago. So a lot of these guys aren't even on. But I found this article here real fast. So this gives you an indication of how many guys. Some of these guys, I'm not going to read some of these guys. I'm not going to read some of these guys. This is ridiculous. There's so many. But I mean, some of these guys aren't even on the team, like Yadni Kajust and stuff. I mean, Darius Slayton, Jason Pinnock, Aziz Ojolari, Drew Lock, Isaiah Hodgins, Allen Robinson, Aaron Stinney, Jalen Mills, Trey Herndon, Jack Stahl, Jordan Phillips, Chris Manhertz, Jamie Gillan, the Hammer, Casey Kreider. We keep bringing him back every year, like on a one-year deal. So, Isaiah Simmons, Nick McLeod, Boogie Basham, right? Then they got David Long, Miles Boykin, Darnay Holm. So a lot of these guys, Matthew Adams, so a lot of these guys aren't even on the team anymore. Right, so you can see that there's a lot of guys, there's a lot of unrestricted free agents. Now, there are restricted free agents. I don't even know if any of these guys are even on a freaking team anymore. Do I have it up here? No, that's not it. Let me see. Yeah, don't look like I got it up here. I thought I did. Meaning the Giants. Yeah. I had their team, so the team, the depth chart and everything up here, but there's restricted free agents and then there's exclusive right free agents like Tommy DeVito, Toman Fox. I mean, this is from months ago, so a ton of these guys aren't even on the team anymore. But like Tommy DeVito and Toman Fox, now an exclusive right free agents. Let me read this over here. Here we go. All right, so the unrestricted free agents, which the Giants have a ton of, right? I mean, it's every team does. It is what it is, right? But so the unrestricted free agents, this is what people think about when they think of a classic free agent, the unrestricted free agent, the UFA. Is any player whose contract expires and is free to sign with whatever team he wants for whatever reason. It doesn't matter. I said Drew Lock. Giants could offer him $15 million. Somebody else can offer him 10. He can go where it's up to him. He can say, well, I want to go here with the 10. My chances of playing are better. I like the coach. I got some. It's closer to my home than New York. Yada yada yada. So I got family who live here. Whatever. So he can sign with whoever he wants for whatever reason. It doesn't matter. Even the Giants offer him more money. Doesn't matter, right? Whether it's the pursuit of the biggest contract, the weather, or that sweet pizza shop near the stadium. I mean, it could be. I'm going to go to San Diego. The weather is fantastic. Or that sweet pizza shop. Oh, Tony's Pizza, right around the corner from the stadium there, down in New Orleans. Oh, love the pizza there. I'm going to move back down to New Orleans. I used to live down there. Love the pizza. Love the blah 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 blah. I'm going to New Orleans. I mean, it doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. The player can do whatever he wants, provided a team obviously wants to sign him. But I mean, if he's being, a couple of teams are going after him, he can pick and choose where he wants to go. It's all up to him. Here's where it gets tricky. Players can only become unrestricted free agents when they've spent 4 accrued seasons on an NFL roster, at least 6 games on the roster and not the practice squad. So they have to spend at least 6 games on an NFL roster during one season to have an accrued year. That doesn't mean 24 games in 4 years. You can't have 3, 3, 3, and 15. No, it has to be at least 6, 6, 6, and see, right? So he has to have, once again, to be an unrestricted free agent, you have to have 4 accrued seasons on an NFL roster, meaning you have to spend at least 6 games on the roster and not the practice squad. Now, I guess you could spend 3 games on the Giants and 3 games then on the Commanders during the one season. That would be your 6 games. That's an accrued season. You get 4 of those, and you can be an unrestricted free agent. You can't be an unrestricted free agent if you've only been in the league for 1 year or 2 years or 3 years, like Tommy Chicken Cutlet Parmesan, right? What happens if they don't? Well, there are 2 different classifications, okay? So there's the restricted free agents, meaning these players who have 3 accrued seasons, no more, no less, 3. They're becoming less common these days since many rookie contracts run for 4 years, which is true. Most players you see come up as restricted free agents are late round picks, undrafted free agents, and off the street players that have caught on with teams and are worth re-signing. A team has 2 options with restricted free agents. 1, come to terms with a normal long-term deal with the player, or 2, place a tender or qualifying offer on the player. You'll hear both. They mean the same thing. A tender is basically a predetermined 1-year contract that the team can offer a restricted free agent. For the this goes back. For the 2016 offseason, there are 3 options, dollar amounts for over the cap. Wow. Let's see. First round tender, a 1 year, 3.582. Second round, 1 year for right of first refusal, original tender. Wow. But anyway, I don't know what they're talking about. They're going back to the 2016 offseason. I don't know. But so there's restricted free agents. So those are guys that have been for 3 years in the league. No more, no less. So you got the unrestricted who have been 4 years or more, and then you have the restricted who have been around for 3 years. Then you have, now this would be, where are we at here? Exclusive right free agents. All right. An exclusive right free agent. Here we go. This is here in the NFL. An exclusive right free agent is a player with an expired contract and fewer than 3 accrued seasons. So you have fewer than 3, you have 3, and then you have 4 or more. The player's original team offers a 1-year contract at the league minimum. The player must sign with that team or sit out the season. So basically, it's also, I get exclusive right free agents. We got Tolman Fox, because they got a bunch of guys who aren't even on the freaking team anymore. Yeah, so I'm not even going to go over these guys, but Toman Fox and Tommy Chicken Cutler Parmesan, right? Those guys are exclusive right free agents. So if the player's original team offers Toman Fox or Tommy Chicken Cutler Parmesan a 1-year contract at the league minimum, the player must sign with that team. If he doesn't want to, he has to sit out a season. So, so they do have an option, but you have to sit out a season. The player has no negotiating rights with the other teams. If the player's original team doesn't offer an unrestricted free agent tender, the player becomes an unrestricted free agent. He can sign with whoever he wants for whatever reason he wants. So, a player accrues a season by being on the team's active, inactive list, injured reserve, or reserve pup for at least 6 regular season games in a given season. So, injured reserve, or blah, 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 blah. So you'll notice, accrues a season by being on the team's active, inactive list, injured reserve, the reserve pup. So, right. So, that's why, like maybe like with the Toman Fox, he hasn't accrued a lot because he's been on the practice squad a lot. Now we're going to go over Toman Fox, I think, in a little bit. If I think with the injury report, I think it is. Right. But that's why like Tommy Chicken Cutler Parmesan, Toman Fox, all haven't accrued a lot because they've been maybe on the practice squad. They've been on the team, so to speak, but it's been the practice squad. So they haven't really accrued any time. Tommy did, like last year and all. But, he hasn't done anything this year. He's been on the practice squad. So he's not accruing any time. That's why sometimes you can be actually in the league for like 4 years, but you might only have like 1 accrued season. So it's kind of tricky. But the a lot of questions. The Giants, they have obviously some decisions to make, and it takes 2 to tango. It's just not like, well, yeah, we'll just trade this guy. Just pick the phone up and you run along, you trade that guy. You know what I mean? It takes 2 to tango, right? I mean, if you just throwing somebody out there. That's all I'm doing. I said if you want to trade away Slayton, just say it takes 2 to tango. You got to find a suitor, and if you think we got to get a 6th-round pick for him, and it might be 3 other teams. They're like, nah, best we're going to do is a 7th. And if you're like, nope, sorry, nope, we need a 6th. They're all like, nope, give me a 7th. Well, the 2 ain't tangoing then, right? It takes 2 to tango. I said, it's obviously it's not that easy, right? But also it's Shane's got to sit down and whatever, with Brandon Brown and whatever and all of that. So he did, thankfully, I guess for whatever, if it's good or bad, but he got a little vote of confidence booster there from Mr. Mara. I don't plan on making any changes, so Shane can sit back and whatever. And he's like, okay, thank God, I still got my job next year. I don't got to sell my house. Thank you, Jesus, right? But he can sit down, and it's like, all right, okay, who's you want to talk to Dable too, obviously. What's going on with Slayton? You think? I mean, what's going on? I mean, Hyatt blow that bad? I mean, is that dude ever going to make another catch in the NFL? If no, let me know, baby. Let me know. Because as much as we might want to get another wide receiver or we might have to go guns a-blazing to get that quarterback in the 1st round, right? So it's like, so we may not be able to really, because they have to trade up to get a quarterback. Can they stay put and one falls to them? They don't know right at this particular point in time. They still got, after this week's over, they still got 8 games left. So they don't know. The Giants, you win a game or 2, and all of a sudden you're going from picking 7th to 17th. You're going from having a quarterback falling into your lap to having to trade up. right? Or taking the whatever's left over, or maybe trying to get somebody in the second round. So you don't know. You got 8 games left after this week's. You have no idea what the heck's going to happen. But I mean, it's a lot. It's like, it's, and you don't know either. Like with Aziz, right? It might be like, well, we got some money. We can throw some money Aziz's way. I mean, the dude's on fire, but with the kind of production he's putting up with Kayvon, Aziz, I mean, it could be the money might be great, but Aziz might want to play. If he's like, wow, after the season's over with, Giants got Burns and they got Kayvon, and I'm number 3. I'm only gonna play 20, 25 snaps unless somebody gets hurt. I want to go someplace where I can start. I want the money, sure, but I want to play too. I mean, I'll be entering my 5th season. I only got so many more good years left in me. I've had a bunch of banged up years. I've got injuries, this, that. I don't know how many more good years I got left in me. And I want to get one good payday. Yes, I do. But I also want to play. I don't want to go, with the Giants. I love them, love the organization, all that stuff and everything. But playing 20 snaps a game, man, I want 50 to 60. I want to be a starter. So you can throw as much as you want at Aziz, may not do you any good. Same thing with Slate. They got to have a powwow, sit down and all that and everything. But talking about maybe sitting down and having a powwow. How about that, huh? How about that? Boy, did they make a boo-boo there. I mean, this is one of those things. I mean, as of right now, possibly. Looks like this could be a boo-boo, right? Possibly. Picking him number 1 and everything like that. Looks like the Texans lucked out and the Panthers didn't. It is what it is. But, this is, one of those things. I mean, he might be on the trade block. It's like, well, he was a number 1. He's not panning out as of right now. So you could probably get him for, I don't know, I'm just throwing a 2nd, maybe a 3rd. Right? I mean, is it worth taking a flyer on him? I mean, Dave's knows quarterbacks. I mean, and he's saying all the right things about Daniel Jones. He's not saying he blows. He's not saying he did some nice things out there. Yeah. I mean, he's saying the right things, but he knows. He knows inside, right? Who can lead the team, who can't. So, I mean, he obviously, I'm sure he has a little inkling about, what Bryce Young can or cannot do. And I'm not sure if, obviously if he's going to want to go after him or not. But, hey, if I'll tell you what, if you could trade away, I'm just saying, a 3rd round pick and get Bryce Young, if you think you can work with him, that's just a 3rd round pick. That saves you your 1st and 2nd for next season. The problem is you let Daniel Jones go. You can bring Tommy Chicken Cutler Parmesan back. You have Bryce Young. I don't know who your other quarterback's going to be. But, I mean, if Dave thinks he can work with Young, might be worth, picking the phone up. So the Giants will almost certainly be in the market for a quarterback this offseason. With days to go before the NFL draft trade deadline, could the Giants make a preemptive move at the quarterback position? ESPN's Dan Graziano thinks that 2023 number 1 overall pick, Bryce Young, who has failed to impress with the Panthers, to the Giants makes sense. Graziano says, Panthers quarterback Bryce Young to the Giants for a fourth round pick. There you go. I mean, you know how awesome that would be. I mean, even if the guy, winds up being somewhat kind of mediocre, you get him for a 4th round pick. That's what Graziano thinks. Wow, that would save you your 1st, your 2nd, and your 3rd round pick for next year. Wow, that way you can get yourself another weapon, you can get yourself another cornerback, and you can get yourself a defensive tackle. You got to get somebody next to Sexy. We need somebody who can just eat a block or whatever. We really need to plug up this running game, big time, absolutely freaking big time. But I mean, if you can save your early round picks and pick up for a fourth round pick, I mean, once again, I said it's all, what does Dabes think? I don't think Carolina is going to do any better than a fourth rounder for Young right now, which could be reason to actually hang on to him. Well, I mean, that's true too. I mean, it could be one of those conditional ones too. It's a fourth. We'll give you a fourth round pick. Tell you what, if he winds up playing in, if he winds up starting a couple games this season for us, we'll make it a third round pick or something or whatever. One of conditional picks. But if the Panthers had decided to move on from Young, New York would be a nice landing spot for him. Young and the Giants coach Brian Daboll didn't overlap at Alabama, but they surely know a lot of the same people at the school, and Daboll might view Young as a player he could develop. Right? The Giants don't know what their future at quarterback holds in 2025 and beyond, and on a cheap flyer on a guy who was the number one overall pick just 18 months ago could be worth it. We got Panthers obviously chose wrong in 2023 when they selected Young instead of C.J. Stroud. Wow, what a boo-boo. Who went number 2 to the Texans. Young had a miserable first season as the Panthers went 2-14. This year he was benched in favor of Andy Dalton. Andy Dalton's still around. Should the Giants take a flight? That depends entirely on how head coach Brian Daboll and GM Joe Shane feel about Young. Personally, this is from Ed Valentine. I was not a big believer in Young coming out of Alabama. He's small. He's 5'10". Yeah, you're talking about a big difference between Danny Dimes and you're talking like half a foot. That's a big difference, if not more. Maybe 7 inches. I mean, that's a big difference. He is also slight, which is not good. I mean, you want a puny quarterback behind this offensive line? Oof. Young is listed at 204 pounds, but most observers believe he weighs less than that. He doesn't make a lot of plays with his legs. He doesn't have a big arm. It's like, I don't know what the hell they saw in him. I mean, my goodness. Before the 2023 draft, Lance Zierlein of NFL.com wrote that Young was slightly built with measurables that fall below the standout for the quarterback position, but that he possesses a full offering of intangibles that help set him apart from some of the more physically gifted quarterbacks in the class. Those intangibles have not led to success in Carolina. Is that due to the situation he was dropped into with the Panthers? Well, that's possible. Where the coaching staff that was in place when he was drafted didn't even make it through his rookie season. Right? You got to figure that too. Did evaluators misjudge Young's ability to overcome his physical limitations against the best defenders in the world? Daboll had success in Buffalo, obviously helping Allen, but Allen is 6'5", almost 240 pounds, with the ability to run through a defender. Daniel Jones is 6'5", 230 pounds. So Daniel Jones and Josh Allen are 7 inches taller than Bryce Young. And they're like 30, 35 pounds heavier. The quarterback the Giants tried to trade up for in 2024, Drake May, is a big arm, 6'4", 225. Young doesn't fit that archetype. No, obviously, Jones is often criticized for his inability to connect on a deep ball. A year ago, Young was 39th out of 40 qualifying quarterbacks in deep ball accuracy, hitting just 13 of 47 attempts. Is this the move the Giants should make? It comes down to whether the coach and GM think there is something there they can work with and possibly succeed with. Even if the Giants make a move like this, giving up a day 3 pick, they can't look at this as their answer at quarterback. It should not be a move that keeps them out of the quarterback market this season. No, absolutely not. Nope. I mean, it's, if they think they can do something with, what's Tommy Chicken called Parmesan? Do they still think, it'll be interesting to see after the season's over with, that they offer him under contract, so he would have to sign it and come back with the Giants. So we'll have to wait and see. But I mean, if they take a flyer on Young, like, could be, if they dish out a 4th-round pick, it could be okay. We can work with this guy, I think. But I don't know if he's going to be our answer quarterback. But he might be a heck of a backup for us. We got the number 1 overall pick. Get him on the sideline. We'll bring somebody else in, whether we drafted them or somehow we get Stafford here or whatever, right? Right. So we'll have somebody there, and we'll groom him, put him on the sideline, right? Keep him healthy, keep him fresh, let him learn the system. Maybe if we ever have to use him, maybe coming off the bench might be good for him. We'll have to wait and see. But once again, that's all. I mean, if we get him, I mean, it just, just the way things didn't work out really very well in Carolina. It doesn't mean that Young can't be a quarterback. No, of course not. But just the way it was at Carolina with Young, is he going to all of a sudden come here and Dable's going to make him into somebody who's better than Patrick Mahomes? Probably not. So, I mean, if we wind up bringing him here, Danny Dimes is gone, that. But this is what Ed Valentine was saying in that article. Doesn't mean that you shouldn't be in the quarterback market this offseason. Now, whether that's bringing in a veteran or a lot of it also depends upon where the Giants are drafting at. If we wind up winning 5 more games somehow, we wind up with 7 wins. We're going to be picking, 16th, whatever, 17th, whatever, somewhere around there, 15th. You know what I mean? So there's a lot of quarterback needy teams, and they're going to start scoffing up a lot of, for the Giants to jump up to draft a quarterback. You have to give up a lot. So we'll have to wait and see. But I mean, it's as far as with Bryce Young, that's certainly worth taking a flyer on, especially if you're going to only have to give away maybe a 3rd-day pick. That wouldn't be too bad. But then there's also, right now, of course, you talk about this. Now, this is one of those things is that, obviously, Shane and Dable, and we have to sit down and do a little bit of thinking here, right? Do some thinking here. It's like, well, is Jalen Hyatt ever going to make the field? And is he ever going to make the field in spite of nobody being injured? Right? Can he actually be a starter on his team? If the answer maybe is no, well, then they might want to possibly think about keeping Slayton, because obviously he's on pace for now over 800 yards on the season. He's on pace to break his personal best for a season as far as receiving yards. So, keep an eye out for him. And the thing is that, with him, right, if the Giants can bring him back, it's almost like, well, we got Malik, we got Robinson, and we got you, buddy. I mean, we'll put you out there, brother. Right now, it all depends, I mean, if Daniel Jones is gone, maybe Slayton might want to go. Who knows? But I mean, the thing is going to wind up also being, do the Giants want to offer him enough money to keep him here? Right? As I said, it's one of those things. It's they don't want to offer him enough money to keep him here. If he wants to go someplace else, right? Can Hyatt take a spot? If Hyatt can't take a spot, do they need to go out in free agency and bring somebody in? Can they draft somebody? To draft a nice receiver, you might want to grab one in the first few rounds. But I mean, if you got to trade up for a quarterback, that might be all your draft picks. They might have to get their 1st and 2nd round pick for a quarterback, and the 3rd round pick they might have to take for a cornerback or a defensive tackle or somebody like that. I mean, so that, it's a tough one. It's a tough one. Let's see, is this one here? But I did see a couple. This is interesting here. Chargers urged to trade up or to trade for the Giants wide receiver at the NFL trade deadline. Now, there was the Chargers and this one too. Trade deadline, potential suitors for Darius Slayton. CBS also mentions the Pittsburgh Steelers, against who Slayton had 108 receiving yards Monday night, as a potential landing spot for Slayton should the Giants decide to move him, if they're able to move, right? Giants face a difficult decision with the 27-year-old in his 6th NFL season. Slayton has led the Giants in receiving yards 4 of his first 5 seasons. This season, he is second on the Giants in receiving yards with 420. Now, they've only played 8 games. He's never had 800 yards receiving before. Well, he's never had 800. He's on pace right now. After 8 games, he's on pace, if we only played 16 games, for 840. So he's on pace for close to about 900 yards receiving on a crappy team, crappy offense who can't score, can't do anything. So with his 420 receiving yards, that, though, puts him on pace for a career best, 893 receiving yards, which is over 100 yards more on a horribly pathetic, crappy offensive team. Almost 900 yards receiving. Slayton, though, can be a free agent at season's end. Do the Giants want to keep him beyond this season? If they do, and they should want to, can they? Slayton has taken a pay cut, yes he has, and signed a contract he thought was below his value since Joe Shane became Giants GM. Will he even want to stay, or would he prefer to look for more money elsewhere? Now, that's the thing, There might be easily more money elsewhere. Another thing here is they're talking about the Chargers. Should the Los Angeles Chargers have their focus on the Cleveland Browns and a chance to really keep their postseason dreams alive with a second straight win? Catching the Chiefs may not be possible, but a wild card spot is absolutely possible. However, this team's current look has an expiration date. The Chargers have to add an offensive weapon to help quarterback Justin Herbert and breakout wide receiver Ladd McConkey. Sports Illustrated has the perfect trade candidate for the offensively needy Chargers. According to a couple people, the Chargers should make a deal to bring in the Giants wide receiver Darius Slayton. Justin Herbert doesn't lose his mind with the Chargers' current receivers. He's a better man than most. Los Angeles is on the fringe of the playoff picture and could bolster its chances by trading for Slayton, who, despite playing with Daniel Jones, has gone over 700 yards in 4 of his 5 seasons. Additionally, the Chargers could extend Slayton at a reasonable number after the season, making him a part of the team's future. And now, he would be, if that were to happen, right? I mean, he's with a winning coach, right? Harbaugh. I mean, he's a winner, right? He's got a great quarterback. If he moves out to San Diego, the weather is fantastic. They could extend him, right? Or whatever. Give him a couple-year contract. Give him some kind of type of a big payday, some type of mediocre big payday for him, right? And you have a quarterback to throw the ball to. Now, obviously, Harbaugh likes to run the ball, but we got McConkey. If you bring Slayton in there, especially if they go out and draft another person, maybe in the first round next year, add another weapon, right? The Chargers could be on, especially with the coaching change and Justin Herbert. They got the quarterback, and they might have the coach there. Chargers are on the up and up. The Giants, we have no idea. Giants could be on the down and down. So, he did take a pay cut to stay here with the Giants. He held out. The Giants didn't offer him any money. They gave him, incentives. Well, if you do this and this and this, which he's probably not going to wind up reaching. I hope he does, to get some of his incentive money, but chances are, is he going to? Maybe not. So he might just be sick and tired of New York. It's draining. It is. It's very draining. You might want to go elsewhere. So, it's one of those things I said is that, but also it takes 2 to tango. Just because the Giants might want to get rid of him, they want to get whatever I'm saying, like a 6th round pick. If everybody else is offering him a 7th, they may just want to keep him. So we'll have to wait and see. But he's certainly one of those guys that is on the possibility of being traded. And there are teams out there, especially, I said, especially like right now, because you got like halfway through the season, you got some guys who are dinged up. Some teams obviously have aspirations of playoffs, and somebody like Slayton, it's like, man, you had over 700 yards receiving with that crap ass offense, that quarterback. 4 to 5 years, you had over 700. Yeah, how'd you do that? And this year with that team, that quarterback, you're on pace for almost 900 yards. Yeah, how the hell is that happening? You know what I mean? So, hey man, somebody pays him, good for him. Darius is a heck of a guy, man. I wish him nothing but the best if he goes someplace else. I hate when you draft somebody, got the guy in the 5th round. I mean, great 5th round pick for the Giants. It's just, I hate losing guys like that, man. But once again, it's a business. And then speaking of losing people, oh my goodness, we got this guy right here. And, the thing for him, Mr. Azeez Ojulari is that, the problem with it, because with Kayvon out, I mean, this guy's been like house of fire. I mean, what do we got here? I think it's 6 sacks. I mean, he's already passed his high. No, I'm sorry. He's almost past it, because was it 8 sacks his rookie season. He's up to 6. His rookie season he played 17 games. He had 8 sacks. Here he's played 8. He started 3, and he has 6 sacks. Now Kayvon's going to be out for another couple games, right? I mean, Azeez could easily break his 8, but we're talking, right? We're talking the Commanders and we're talking the Panthers. I mean, Azeez could easily grab another couple sacks and get 8 or 9, a little more than halfway through the season. I mean, could you see him if he winds up with like 10, 11, 12 sacks on the season or something like that, and the Giants have to let him go, what he might wind up signing for? Wow. I say it's just a shame because somebody like him, I mean, because, this have 3 edge rushers. The problem is paying them, The thing would be is that you got Kayvon, and you got Bernsey, would be to try to draft another edge rusher. The problem is that we need so many other things too, is that, but I mean, because if you let Azeez Ojulari, who else you got? I mean, you can bring guys in, but how effective are they going to be? You have like Tolman Fox or somebody like that. I mean, so how effective are these backup guys going to be? Not very. So it is what it is. But I mean, as I was saying with Azeez, it might be, well, the Giants offer me 10 and the Chargers offer me 10, right? But if I go to San Diego, I'm probably going to play more. That's what the Giants probably can't offer them. I mean, the Giants, if they let Daniel Jones go, they'll have some money. They can either keep a couple of these, try to maybe re-sign Slayton, try to bring back Azeez or whatever, one of those guys. As I said, if we could bring Azeez back, it'd be fantastic because we still have our 3 edge rushers, which would be fantastic. I said the problem is the playing time. But we got this one here. Let's see here. Why the Giants have to be willing to trade Azeez Ojulari. Yeah, well, it's going to be tough, but this is, who is this here? Who wrote this here? This is what? Big Blue View. So Big Blue View, Ed Valentine. Okay. All right. Ed Valentine said, I wrote about the 4th-year edge defender last week when he told me he was just working and trying to help his team rather than focusing on the future, which is the right thing to say. Azeez is a heck of a guy. I mean, once again, and also that too. Slayton's a heck of a guy. Azeez is a heck of a guy. You hate to see good quality guys like that leave too. But once again, it's a business. And this is freaking incredible too. Still, the 24-year-old, so that means if he leaves next year, he'd only be 25 years old. He's 24 years old, and he's on pace for at least double-digit sacks this year. 24 years old, and you're going to lose him. Still, a 24-year-old Ojulari isn't oblivious to his situation. He knows that with Burns on an expensive long-term contract and Kayvon having been the 2022 number 5 overall pick, that it will always be the third wheel on the Giants' edge rotation. He knows how valuable pass rushing is, and he's taken full advantage of that. You know, Kayvon going down was the best thing that happened to Azeez Ojulari. Every game that goes by and he gets 1 or 2 sacks, his market value goes up. Let's see. And NFL teams will pony up to find a pass rusher. He knows that as long as he continues to produce while Thibodeau recuperates from his fractured wrist, his value on the open market just keeps going up. Now, he's got to stay healthy, though, too, because it's like, I mean, he's had issues with injuries, and that's no surprise. That's no big secret obviously, to the other teams out there. Yeah, they know, right? So Azeez is coming in and doing fantastic, but if he gets injured, that's going to decrease his value. He knows that there are teams out there that will likely give him both more money than the Giants will be able to and more playing time than the Giants have available. So whether the Giants have an adequate short-term replacement for both Thibodeau and Ojulari isn't the point. The point is doing what's best for the long-term future of the franchise. I mean, that's, as I said, unfortunately, that's, the one thing with Ojulari. The Giants can offer him actually even more money than another team, but he's like, man, I'm going to play here. I'm a starter here, And I mean, the one situation that Azeez might be actually best suited for might be the Giants, because he's had nothing. Let's see. Pop this up here. I got 37,000 tabs open here. So let me find it. Okay, here we go. All right, so pop this open. Okay, so his rookie season, he played in 17 games, started 13 of them. But second season, 2022, he played in 7 games, started 5. Why? Injuries. 2023, he played in 11 games, he started 7. Why? Injuries. This season, he's played in every game, but he hasn't been the starter. He's only started in 3 because Kayvon's been out. So, meaning that this might be actually the best situation overall for him, because he's had injuries from playing, right? The dude is, you could see, the dude is special. I'm not saying he's a Hall of Famer or nothing like that, but the guy's pretty damn good, right? You could see, sometimes the guy looks like he's shot out of a rocket. He looks so good. But this might be the best situation overall for him. He's going to see the dollar signs, and I don't blame him. He's going to have maybe one big payday, and if he can get it now, sign for a 3-year deal someplace, somebody gives him whatever, 3 years, whatever. Maybe you take it, but I'm saying, but the best situation for him might be here in New York. He may not get a lot of playing time, but he'll stay fresh. He gets 20 snaps, and once again, if you want 50 or 60 snaps a game, you're not in the right spot. But if he stays here in New York, he might be the third wheel, yada, 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 all that stuff and everything. But he'll stay fresh, and he'll hopefully maybe avoid some injuries. Because, the more, obviously, we've seen in the past, the more Azeez plays, the more of a chance of him getting hurt or injured. And, that season, the 2022, when we went to the playoffs, he was injured all the freaking time. I think I think Kirk Cousins accidentally hit him, kicked him in the thigh or something like that. And that hurt. It was like one injury after the other, but unfortunately, and as I said, I don't blame him, more money, probably someplace else. And, because the Giants don't need a pass rusher. they need a backup pass rusher, but there'll be other teams out there that'll need a starting pass rusher who are willing to pay for it. And once they ante up some money, probably more than what the Giants can give, and ante up the money and also ante up the playing time, something the Giants can't do. Unfortunately, Aziz would be bye-bye at the end of the season. So now the thing is, it's kind of like, can you strike while the iron's hot? I mean, you look at the dude's got 6 sacks. He started 3 games halfway through the season. He only started 3 games. He had 6 sacks. After this week, he could have 7 or something like that. He's on pace for well over 10 sacks. I mean, trade him, get something for him, because you may not be re-signing him. Trade him and get, as I say, get a 3rd round pick, a third day 3 pick for him, maybe a 4th round pick or something, whatever. Might be a way to go. I mean, wide receivers, edge rushers. Oh yeah, they're always in need. Always in need, especially now we're halfway through the season and there's a lot of guys that are nicked up. Like, look at Hutchinson, right? Right, well, they just traded for, was it Uche? Uche, I think his name is. Right? Was that the Chiefs? The Chiefs did that. Yeah, the Chiefs did that. Yeah. But I mean, look at the line. They lost Hutchinson. I mean, they got Super Bowl aspirations. They lost their best defensive player. So bring it, trading a 4th round pick or something or whatever and get Aziz on their team might be the way to go. So, all right. Giants defense versus the Commanders offense. Well, we know the one thing, obviously, the last time that we played is that the Commanders are 0-6 in the red zone. I mean, absolutely unfreaking believable. I mean, the Giants all game long had 7 possessions. The Commanders had 8. I think the last one was, I think they just had the ball and just ran the clock. Yeah, took the kneel. It was after, It was after, I think, Malik dropped the ball, 4th down. I think the Commanders took it, ran the clock out. So they had no aspirations on moving the ball down the field to score. I mean, they just tried to run the clock out. But they had first 7 possessions straight down the field every freaking time. Thankfully, we kept them out of the end zone. But, I mean, we got to do a much, much better job than they did last time. I mean, they had, let's see, team stats here. What they had 22 first downs, 425 yards of offense. They had the ball for 37 minutes. So they had 425 yards of offense. So say 420 in 7 drives. That means each drive, they averaged 60 yards. They moved the ball 60 yards every time they had the ball on average. I mean, we just could not stop them. I mean, it's like a gut punch. We got this one here. How the Commanders' offense might be different this time. I don't know how much they're going to want to change it up this time, but, it worked pretty well for them last time. The personnel, the Commanders' rookie starting quarterback, Jaden Daniels, has to be the early favorite to win Offensive Rookie of the Year. He has 1,736 passing yards, 7 passing touchdowns, and just 2 interceptions. Also registering 424 rushing yards and 4 touchdowns. I mean, so he's easily on pace for, about 900 rushing yards on the season. I mean, fantastic. Got the running back duo Brian Robinson and Austin Eckler are having some of the most productive seasons of their career. Part of that is due to, obviously, Daniel's dual threat ability, which requires defenses to hesitate to attack the run game as they need to make sure he doesn't get to the edge. Yep. Robinson and Eckler have put together a combined 701 rushing yards. I mean, it's fantastic. And 7 rushing touchdowns. They're averaging 5 yards a carry. And they have 286 receiving yards and 28 catches as well. After a slow start to the season, Terry McLaurin has emerged as his usual dominant self. He finally has a quarterback who can connect with him on deep passes. There's a clear lack of secondary options that can be both explosive and reliable in the passing game. Zach Ertz is reliable but lacks the consistent big play ability, while McLaurin is the only true consistent threat on this offense. Let's see, who wrote this here? Brandon Olson. Okay. Let's see. He says, I don't think the Giants have a cornerback who consistently match him. Commanders' offensive line has been wildly inconsistent lately, allowing a pressure percentage on 35% or higher in 3 of their past 4 games. That the Giants might have to capitalize on that. Get some pressure on Daniels. Keep him in the pocket. Sack his ass. Right? For reference, the Giants got pressures on 31.6% of their pass rush opportunities against the Commanders in week 2. You got to credit Cliff Kingsbury for his changes to the offense and allowing players to go out and make plays. The run game has been versatile between gap and zone schemes, finding more success in the running gap scheme, but keeping zone runs involved in the offense. Daniels' legs haven't been used much lately as a design part of the offense, but he's had the green light to take off scrambling whenever he wants, and he thrives in an environment like that. Last time I wrote this, my issues with Kingsbury was that throughout his career and in the Commanders' first game of the season, he didn't put players in a position to succeed. No. He still fails in some areas, but he's grown as a play caller despite using McLaurin almost exclusively as a left outside receiver. The play-action passing game has unsurprisingly been incredibly effective for Daniels this year, and it leaned more into it recently after not doing so in the first few weeks. Oh, yeah, I mean, you figure play action. I mean, with his ability to be able to run, with his ability to, maybe pull down and run or whatever, you freeze everybody for just a split second or so. Play action can be fantastic. Commanders' offense has opened up significantly since the first time these two teams have played. That week 2 matchup remains the only game in which Daniels was sacked more than 3 times. A defensive coordinator, Shane Bowen, did a masterful job consistently generating pressure. But the one thing is that usually, what you like is when you get a sack, that should be a drive killer. All right, it's second down and 7. Daniels goes back. Oh, sacked. He's 3rd and 13. Yeah, we're going to get off the field. Oh, no, didn't matter. 3rd and whatever, didn't matter. Now, in fact, they were 7 out of 14 on 3rd downs and 1 for 1 on 4th downs. So between 3rd and 4th, they were 8 out of 15. The only 7 times that they didn't make it, right? The 7 times they didn't make it on 3rd down or whatever it was, right? They kicked field goals because they got down the field. Let's see. I mean, Daniels was the first time box score. What running here? Robinson had 133 rushing yards, 17 carries, 133 rushing yards. Daniels, 10 carries, 44 yards. Eckler, 8 carries, 38 yards. They averaged 6.1 yards. They ran the ball 35 times, 215 yards. They had, after the sacks, they had 210 passing yards, 215 rushing yards. Talk about, right? An even balanced attack. Holy cow. Over 200 yards rushing and passing. Horrible. I mean, for the Giants. But says, I expect the Commanders to try to create more deep shot opportunities this time around as the Giants secondary has struggled to make a play on the ball in recent weeks. The Giants should take either a very aggressive or very conservative approach, blitz their lights out, or sit in quarters coverage and take away the over-the-top passes while having zone defenders watching Daniels' legs. Yeah, but, I agree with that. Obviously you don't want – if you got to make them – they're going to score, make them march down the field. Don't give them nothing deep, right? I mean, nothing. Don't give them it was a 48-yard completion there. Now they're in field goal range, just one play. Right? I mean, make them march. If they're going to go 48 yards, make them do it in 7 plays, right? Get off the field on 3rd down. I mean, if you get a sack, get off the field. They didn't punt one time. Not one time. You know how embarrassing that is? I mean, they had 7 drives and had over 200 yards rushing in 7 drives. I mean, over 200. I mean, they averaged basically like 30 on every drive they had. They basically had 7 drives. They averaged 30 yards rushing, 30 yards passing on every drive. We just couldn't stop them. It just penalties didn't stop their drives. Sacks didn't stop their drives. Incompletions did nothing. Nothing stopped their drives. I mean, we gotta get off the field. We gotta get off the field. And then we have to, get some turnovers. I mean, that would be huge, right? He's only thrown 2 interceptions. I mean, can we get a pick? Can we get a fumble recovery, right? Can we score? We scored some touchdowns, but can we? We're gonna go over there in a second here, right? Not the injuries, but and then when we do score touchdowns, can we actually kick the extra point or actually get into field goal range? And we're going to go over the offense tomorrow night or tonight, right? But when you sack them, it has to end the drive, right? I mean, you got to do a much better job. I mean, those run defense is really, really sad, really sad. I mean, absolutely horrible. I mean, you give up over a couple hundred yards in a couple games, just inexcusable. I mean, it's absolutely horrible, absolutely horrible. So, Giants got the work cut out for him. He's a really, really fantastic quarterback, and you can really see now that when Hard Knocks came out, and Shane said, "Would you like to trade up and get Daniels?" And Dave was like, "Oh yeah, so right, you could. Yeah. Daniels is all that and a bag of Doritos. I'll tell you what, really, really good." All right, well. I mean, this is just absolutely unbelievable. I mean, this is like when nothing's going right for a team, this is what happens, right? Giants have lost another kicker due to injury. This is the 3rd motherfucking kicker the Giants have lost this season. I mean, 3 kickers. I mean, why? Unbelievable. Thankfully, we got Jude McAtamney. I think that's how you pronounce his name on the roster. It looks like he's going to be coming up and supposed to have a booming leg. So hopefully we'll get a chance to see it. And I'll tell you what, I mean, hey, I'm pulling for him. The guy does good. You don't know how much longer Gano is going to be around. I mean, last year he was injured. This year he's injured. I mean, the guy, he's getting up there in age, right? If he's healthy. Model of consistency as far as kicking. I mean, the man was 2022. The man was Mr. Automatic, which is anything from over 50 yards. Graham's got it. I mean, he was unbelievable. But I mean, you can't make the team. You can't make the club in the tub, right? So let's see what Jude's got. Right? I'm pulling for him. But another kicker, Joseph, hurt. Unfreaking believable. So we got, let's see. This guy there? There we go. This too. Giants' latest mind-boggling kicker injury means practice squad option set for debut. It's just unbelievable. Absolutely unbelievable. In a twist that's too unbelievable to make up, rookie kicker Jude McAtamney is expected to make his NFL debut Sunday for the Giants against the Commanders. Greg Joseph was added to the injury report and ruled out Friday after an MRI exam revealed that he is dealing with an abdomen injury. Unbelievable. Just unbelievable, man. McAtamney is expected to be elevated from the practice squad. Good for him, man. Cool. Let's do it up, brother. Right? 7 weeks ago, the Giants lost to the Commanders 21-18 because they didn't elevate McAtamney when the situation called for it. The Giants went into the game with Graham Gano dealing with a groin injury. That's once again one of the games we should have won. It's just like a broken record every year. Gano then injured his hamstring on the opening kickoff. The Giants missed a PAT when the Scottish Hammer attempt missed the PAT from the Scottish Hammer from Gillan. Bypassed 2 other PATs for failed two-point conversions, and did not try a potential game-tying 40-yard field goal late in the fourth quarter. It was a difference of 3 to 6 points. It was a difference, basically, the Giants losing the frickin' ball game if they had a healthy kicker. Now, the Ireland-born McAtamney, who was on the practice squad via an NFL International Pathways exemption, will get his shot. Cool, brother. Let's do it, baby. He was a kickoff specialist at Rutgers last season after losing the place-kicking competition, but made both his field goals during preseason action. Joseph is 13 for 16 on field goals as Gano's replacement. Gano remains on injury reserve, even though he is eligible to return. So we'll have to wait and see. Hopefully he might make his way back. Darius Slayton won't approach Sunday's game. Tyrone Tracy Jr. cleared a concussion protocol and will play. That's cool. Joseph and the Scottish Hammer, Jamie Gillan, left hamstring, were both ruled out. And Bryce Ford Wheaton is listed as doubtful on the final injury report. Ty Summers is questionable. So we got, the Giants had a long laundry list. They had Matt Adams, Zudu, Bryce Ford Wheaton, Gillan, Lawrence, Smith Marset, Tyrone Tracy, Bernsey, Illuminor, Cordell Flott, Trey Hawkins, Adoree Jackson, Jack Kubas, John Michael Schmitz, Ty Summers, Lawrence Taylor, Andy Robustelli, Y.A. Tittle, Michael Strahan, Keith Hamilton, Eli Manning, and Tiki Barber, all on they had Greg Joseph, John Runyon, Ty Summers, John Michael. They had a ton of guys, but there's only 4 of them. So we're going to have a lot of guys a little dinged up. It is what it is, but we have 4 of them that have game statuses, right? Bryce Ford Wheaton with an Achilles is doubtful. The Scottish Hammer with his hamstring once again for the 312th week, he's out. Ty Summers, he's got an ankle. He's questionable. And, of course, Greg Joseph with his abdomen, he's out. So we got 2 guys out. We got 1 guy's doubtful, 1 guy's questionable. So we only got 4 guys. So that's not too bad. Of course, we have a bunch of guys who are dinged up, but it is what it is. Now, according to the Commanders, they only got 2 guys. They got Cornelius Lucas, an offensive tackle, who has an ankle. He's out. Then they got Brian Robinson Jr., who has a hamstring. He's questionable. But even though, question is a better chance than not that he will actually play. But if he's got a hamstring, that could hamstring him, right? That means that's going to hinder him a little bit. It doesn't matter how well, if he's questionable, doubtful, whatever. If Robinson Jr. is on the injury list, right, with hamstring, so that'll help, right? Just look for Austin Eckler to maybe take up a little more of the slack. Look for Jaden Daniels. Jaden ran quite a few times last time. So, but Robinson's killed us before in the past. Soup is special. He's really, really good athlete. Very, very good athlete. And he killed us last time. I think he hurt us last year as well too. So, very special athlete. So, even if he does play, if he's got a hamstring issue, that'll hamstring him just a little bit. So the Giants got ton of guys who are a little dinged up and all, but they give them rest and everything like that. But the one nice thing is, I think, right? Is it? Let me see here. Let me check the schedule. I think we got 2 games. Is that? Let me see here. New York Giants schedule. Boom! Right. So we got, yeah. So we got the Commanders. This is the good thing, right? So we got the Commanders on the 3rd. Then we got the Panthers on the 10th out in Germany. Then we got a bye week. So then we got the Bucks. Then we got the Cowboys on. Then we got 2 games in 4 days. But the one nice thing is we got a bunch of guys who are all dinged up. It is what it is. But we got 2 games. Then we got a bye week. So after that bye week, hopefully, some more guys will get rested up, and hopefully we'll have a decent amount of guys for the final push of the season. But we're 2-6. So even if we go 1-1 in these 2 games, you go 2-0, but we'll still be 4-6. be really, really tough. I'm saying, but if we go 1-1 in these 2 games and we're 3-7, but at least it's nice to have a bunch of guys, who aren't all banged up. That'd be good. Maybe we start getting some of these guys back. We'll have to wait. Say, he said maybe we'll get Kayvon back after the bye week. That would be great. We'll have to wait and see. But the bye week for the Giants it'll be well due. I mean, for the Giants. The problem is that by the time it comes, the season could be over. So it is what it is. I hate sound like Nancy negativity, but you've seen the product on the field, and it's not pretty. So, all right, guys, it's been 1 hour and 11 minutes. Whoever spent any time listening to me live, thank you. Or if anybody's going to spend any time watching a replay of this, once again, thank you so much from the bottom of my heart. Thank you. As always, you guys stay safe out there and go Giants. Woo! Oh, yeah.